There are a couple different ways you can look at this. One is just solely from the aspect of production of Virginia wines. When you look at a production period of a winery in California or in New York, when they have 80,000 cases to produce, they can afford to decrease their cost and have wines available at a $7 price range. When you're looking at Virginia wineries, the majority of Virginia wineries, I'd say 90% of Virginia wineries in the state only produce between 3,000 and 6,000 cases a year. So there's really no way on those production scales for the wineries to offer anything less than what they are right now.
I don't think nowadays that is applicable. I do think there's a variation in price all over there, and that the perception is such. But the wineries that I work with, the Country Vintner, really strive to have products that are very, very competitive retail price-wise with wines of similar quality. Now, not all Virginia wines are of the same quality, which also makes a difference for the pricing. And then there's some wines that are quite expensive, but they're made in very small amounts, and they basically sell through, which means the demand is there for it, so the price is appropriate, because we do sell out from vintage to vintage.
If you look at where Virginia has come in quality wines in the past 10 years, they play on a global market. But what I mean by that is you can take wines in a $20 price range and from all around the world and put Virginia wines in there, French wines, Chilean wines, and they won't be the worst, but they won't be the best. So can you say they're expensive? No, not at that level. They're globally priced, in the sense that they are of a quality that competes in the global market. Is that indicative throughout Virginia right now? No, maybe not. Is that the perception why don't we produce wines that are $7 a bottle, like say Yellowtail or some of these very popular brands? No, Virginia will never be like that. You know, we are going to a quality premium wine producing state, and to pay for quality is never cheap. My markup on my wine from my production cost, pure production cost, and what markup I put on it is internationally standard. Nobody is making more money in Virginia off their wines. I know the economics of this business. Nobody has a higher markup on their wines. Maybe if you go to a tasting room, you might have an elevated price, but the wineries that are globally and viable outside of the state do not make any more money than anyone else in the world on their wines. We have a pretty much standard markup. There's no gouging of the customer. We all know what we make on wine. I'm not going to say what we make on wine because you'll feel sorry for us all. But if you really knew, you'd think we're all crazy.
We are in a market that is burgeoning, and we're attempting to make a reputation for ourselves. California went through this, Oregon went through this, Washington, everyone went through this, and this is our baby years. Even though Virginia wine industry has been around for decades, it's just now really getting to be an actual viable market. We have over 100 and some wineries, vineyards all over the place, and it's a major agricultural sector for the state of Virginia. However, even though it's all these wonderful things and it's becoming a larger part of Virginia culture, it's very difficult. The barriers to entry are huge. Beginning a vineyard all on its own, you have to start with an investment up front that you know you're not going to see any return on that investment for several years. I mean, a vine isn't able to produce viable grapes for 3 to 4 years, and that's if you're lucky and you get some good growing seasons and not some horribly dry years like this year, or terrible freezes like we had over Easter weekend.
I don't think they are. I think they're moderately priced depending on which range of pricing you're looking at. But in reality, when you do look at the market, they are higher priced than the rest of the market competition. And I think a lot of that is economy of scale. In Virginia, being a new industry, we are not massive. We don't have huge production houses, and we don't have a lot of the the extremely high technology harvesting equipment and mechanization that will decrease the cost of a bottle of wine. So in that sense, I think it's economy of scale. We're smaller producers, smaller wineries, and we're just trying to stay afloat and make the best wines possible, which brings our price up just a little bit compared to the rest of the wines that you see on the shelves.